Please join me in welcoming Fred to our stage.
Good evening. My name is Fred Wistow, and I'm up here tonight for three simple reasons. First, ostensibly, to introduce to you the utterly unique and completely irreplaceable Paul Robinson. But secondly, and much more importantly, because I am to a large extent responsible for hiring him, something I have long come to regret, I am here to apologize. Apologize for all the damage Paul has done to both his company and to the music industry at large. And finally, to ask for your prayers that the irreplaceable Paul Robinson be replaced. Let me explain. At its peak in the 1990s, the worldwide recorded music business each year generated approximately $30 billion in revenue. Today, that number is, in comparison, an astonishingly pathetic $15 billion. Many people have theorized as to the cause of this calamitous decline. A 50% decline that has left no company unscathed, including, of course, the giant formerly known as Warner Music Group. Was it the internet, they've wondered, that rough beast from the future that struck first at music and then slouched on, disrupting one unprepared industry after the next? Or was it something spawned by cyberspace? File sharing, downloading, unbundling, the failure of rebundling, streaming, freemium? Or was it the absence of a revolutionary new music genre to fascinate the young? Or too long and lazy of a reliance on a single configuration, the compact disc, or the perpetually out-of-date copyright laws? Or was it the irresistible siren's call of the seemingly endless array of other competing entertainment media that gobble up such huge chunks of our leisure time? The list of potential villains is long. Well, yes, sure, there are any number of explanations for the horrifying collapse of both the industry in general and Warner Music in particular. But when you look closely, very closely, you will see what every pundit, every critic, every analyst has so far failed to see, and that is that the one continuous and consistent factor present at every moment of this multi-decade debacle, really, when it comes down to it, the sole explanation for this catastrophic implosion was, is, and continues to be, yes, tonight's second legal champion of the arts, Paul Robinson. Paul Robinson and his uninterrupted tenure in the legal coal mines of Warner Music. I've had the misfortune of knowing Paul for what now seems like forever. Back then in the Jurassic Age, when Paul, a young, wet behind the ears, fresh-faced lawyer, arrived as a lowly associate general counsel of the then 6 major recorded music companies. The largest in the US was Warner, then in its heyday. The years have rolled by, and step by step, inch by inch, Paul has inexorably made his way up the ladder. Today, Paul, no longer young, ears completely dry, still relatively fresh-faced, however. Today, Paul is Executive Vice President and General Counsel of WMG, now the smallest of the majors, of which, by the way, as we can see from our music honorees tonight, only 3 remain. When you throw in Paul's prior service to Warner as an outside lawyer, his has been a 28-year reign of terror that has devastated beyond recognition not only his company, but the entire music industry. How? How, you ask? How did he do all this? Well, as many of you here tonight know, the music industry is a business built by, run by, has always thrived under, and long been famous for, its unending series of scumbags and assholes. Then, nearly 3 decades ago, out of the blue, along comes Paul, upsetting that tried and true recipe for success. I ask you, how ever could a music company ever succeed when in its midst there was a man like Paul who was and is and stands for everything that is honest, diligent, fair, self-effacing, loyal, devoted to his team, who gives credit rather than steals it, a man who cares more and knows more and works more and endures more than anyone else around. In sum, a man who represents everything that is the antithesis of a music company executive. I'll tell you how such a music company can succeed. It can't. No wonder the center has not held. No wonder the whole damn thing is falling apart. Now, don't ask me how it happened, but it did, slowly and surely, over the course of what future music business historians will almost certainly one day come to call the Robinson years. This insidious and corrosive Robinsonian goodness didn't infect just Warner Music, it spread. It wended its way across the entire landscape, bringing the other majors under its pernicious spell as well, and did so to such an extent that, well, we know what's happened, of course, the very disaster from which the industry is still reeling, and from which there may be no return. In short, the greater the number of good guys, the worse the financial results. Unless we can somehow stop this dire threat from within, stop the influence of this mild-mannered, utterly reasonable, insanely knowledgeable man, this paragon of talent and virtue, the music industry as we once knew it will, in a few years, be but a distant memory. Finally, we can only hope, and for those few of us who still can, we can only pray that someday, soon perhaps, Paul will finally leave us alone, permitting both Warner Music and the industry to begin to heal, to reverse their downward slides and return to their glory days, letting the scumbags and assholes flourish once again. Paul, as virtuous as you are, even you, in some hidden corners of your heart and soul must, for the sake of the company and the industry you love so much, hope for the same. Ladies and gentlemen, with my most heartfelt apologies, I give you Mr. Paul Martin Robinson.